Oh, there we go. Now it's live. Sorry about that, Keith.
That's live. Okay.
Hello and welcome to the Crunchin podcast, where we take a bite out of the convention going experience. And today I'm joined by the real life superhero, Keith L., the London Superman. And welcome to the show.
Hey, welcome. Thank you for having me on. It was great to meet you there the other week at London Comic Con. So, thanks for
Yeah.
inviting me.
Yeah, the last podcast I did, I talked all about my time at London Comic Con, so we can hear all about yours because you had a pretty exciting time there too.
I did. It was a good con, but every year is a good con at London Comic Con. So I love love the little ones, the local ones, and not just because it's around the corner from me.
Yeah,
Or you
same.
for that matter. So, you know.
Yeah, the London Comic Con's really good. I like how it's all kind of in one main area. Like the stage is right in the middle of everything that's going on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's hard to miss stuff there. You kind of
Yeah.
you experience everything at once.
Yeah, that's the problem with some of the other cons is you've got to travel so far to get to like the panel rooms and things like that. And with London, they try to centralize like every event. So when you're walking around, you can't help but see it out of the corner of your eye, and it'll catch your attention either way. Hopefully. So
Right.
yeah.
So I've got a little intro. I'm gonna see if it'll work here. I
Okay.
played it on one of the other podcasts. I'll play it now.
To take a
Right,
hit
let's see.
this guy.
Sorry if that's blasting everyone's ears. I don't know how loud that was gonna be.
Oh, that's good. That's
But
good.
yeah, that's the intro I made. Took me about 30 seconds to film and edit that one. I guess
Good. Yeah. I'll need
that
something like
was
that. We'll talk about that after the conversation today. So
cool. Well, I do have a list of questions, so we can get a little more structured here if you want, and then
yeah. Oh yeah. No,
we could talk about whatever you want towards the end.
yeah, no,
But
it's your show. Let's run. So
so you can pass on any question I tell everyone. That's fine. And then my first question is, what's your favorite convention to attend?
favorite convention. All right. That's tricky because I'm torn with a lot of the big cons because they get so many guests and so many people and there's so much to see. But I'm also a big believer in like the smaller local cons to really support them and help them grow. So it's tricky. I like Fan Expo up in Toronto, like Fan Expo Canada, the one that's at the end of August. Just from the insanity point of view, because it's a whole building at the convention center downtown in
Yeah, it's
Toronto.
like 100,000 people at that one, eh?
Yeah, it's insane, but they get a lot of really good guests. Motor City Comic Con in Novi, Michigan, which they've got their fall one going next weekend, November 8th, 9th, and 10th. I think if I'm getting the dates right. That's always a good one. I like going to that one. That was my first really big con. But then I like things like Forest City Comic Con, the smaller one here in London, London Comic Con, CK Expo in Chatham, Kent. Those little ones to support those. So if I had to choose one that I would go to all the time, then just like we were talking about at the beginning here, it'd have to be London Comic Con, just because it's attracting a lot of attention, and a lot of people are coming from great distances to come to this one because of the way it's run and its support of the cosplay community more so than a lot of the other bigger cons.
Yeah, I can see that for sure with all the I feel like it's a nice tight-knit group in London and everyone is so nice there too.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's a great group. The cosplay community in London is really tight, and very supportive and encouraging of each other. But the London Comic Con goes out of its way to have a lot more cosplay guests and a lot more cosplay specific events, right? Like the cosplay contests and the dance offs and all of that stuff that they had. Like you saw it at
Yeah.
but they've got a lot more so than and this is no slam to the other cons, like a lot more so from what I've experienced, say at like Toronto Comic Con or Fan Expo, where they've got cosplay guests, but they're off in a corner somewhere, and you gotta know where to go to find them. But with London, they're right there. Like this year, the cosplay guests were all like right when you came in the door. You couldn't help but see the whole community area with the free
Yeah, right
photographs
at the bottom entrance there was all
right at
the
the entrance. Yeah,
cosplaying stuff.
yeah, and then throughout they still had them, fairly spread out, and a lot of the volunteers that help run this event, London Comic Con, are all cosplayers as well. So a lot of them are in costume for the whole weekend too. So it's just a big, for lack of a better term, a big love in for the cosplay community. So, and that's why we get people coming down from Toronto and Windsor and all over the place to come to that event, not because of the guests, but because of the community that they've built. So it puts it right up there as my favorite, and not like we joke, not because it's just around the corner from us.
Yeah, I think it's like really well organized, and it's always a good time at London Comic Con. And again, it's not as big as Toronto, so you're also not waiting in huge lines and stuff. And I find, anyways, like some of those TMNT lines looked pretty long at the London Comic Con, but
yeah, but they planned for that because they had Kevin Eastman and that outside the main convention area in a bigger area where they could accommodate those expected lines, and I think that was good planning on their part, because it was a hugely popular draw. So
yeah, they had like their own hallway basically.
Yeah, they put them at I want to say the beginning of Artist Alley. So that fed into the other artists, because as you lined up to see the TMNT guys, you couldn't help but look at the other booths for the artists while you were queued up. So
I have art from two of the artists that were in that hallway too.
Nice.
One I got in Toronto, actually. It's the he's DC, so I could pull him off the wall.
Yeah.
He's Batman Beyond.
Oh, nice.
Terry McGinnis.
Nice. Yep, that's an awesome print.
And then the one I had was from the one Surge. He does like custom comic book covers and the works like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I picked up a few prints from different artists at those events and other places too. So some of the artists are really just phenomenal that way. Oops. I'm losing something here while I reach. Sorry.
It's okay.
Stuff's slipping around on me. I'll have to sort it out after. It was upside down. That's why it was slipping out. It was upside down.
Oh.
So
what do you got there?
Oh, well, it's a print. Not the ones I thought it was, but it was Doc Savage. Whoops, sorry. Trying to hold it in the right way. It's in plastic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a. There we go. Right. I picked this up at the Toronto Game Expo. And,
okay.
Whoops. There we go. He's a pulp novel from the 30s, and I kind of been making the joke for a while that he might have been partially part of an inspiration for some of the origin of Superman, because in the novel he goes up to the Arctic Circle to his fortress of solitude.
Oh, really?
And, to get away from everything and focus on science. And
how old's the novel?
Well, there was a whole series of them, like 30 or 40 of them. They were pulp novels, published in the early 30s, and that, like, pulp detective novels. And I when I remembered that, I sort of made the joke that maybe Soups had his fortress of solitude next door, and they would go and borrow cups of sugar from each other, as the joke goes. But yeah,
that's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, the significance though of Doc Savage is they did a movie in the 70s with an actor named Ron Ely, who was famous for playing Tarzan. But Ron actually was on the short-lived Superboy TV series, playing Superman from a different a different universe, an older Superman from a different universe. So it was just kind of, the tie-in there was kind of neat.
Yeah, I love it when they do that. I feel like DC does that all the time in their shows.
Yeah, and
Like
they
when
do really well with tying those together too. So,
I was just gonna use like the Flash as an example. They had the old Flash come in and play the dad for
yep,
like in the Flash TV show for CW.
yeah. John Wesley Shipp was the Flash in the '80s.
Yeah,
and then they had him play Barry's dad, and then an alternate, the original Jay Garrick Flash.
yeah, Jay Garrick
comics. Yeah,
he had the helmet on and he was throwing it at people. That was great.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. And they've done that with a lot of other characters too. Like they've had Terry Hatcher played. Oh, geez, I'm getting my people all mixed up. Terry Hatcher played Chloe's mom, if I remember right, on
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
Because they had Margot Kidder and Christopher Reeve on Smallville as well.
And Annette O'Toole, who was original Lana Lang in the Chris Reeves universe, was Smallville's mom. It was a Smallville Martha Kent.
Yeah, and the producers from what I read, the producers of the show had no idea she was in Superman 3.
No way.
Didn't know her connection at all to the Superman mythos until she auditioned. And right. And then and they had I think they had Helen Slater in there as well as playing Clark's mom in a flashback or something. She was on the show, so they had a whole bunch of great tie-ins.
Yeah, Dean Cain, Chris Reeve, they're all like the other Supermen were on there too, playing different characters.
Oh yeah.
So that was a good one.
Yeah, they actually had Dean Cain play a villain on Superman and Lois. Or not Dean Cain. Actually, no, wait a minute. Yeah, it was Dean Cain. I'm getting all mixed up.
Or do you mean Tom Welling?
No, they had Dean Cain.
So he's played two villains then.
Yeah, he played a villain on. I think he played a villain on Smallville as well, if I'm remembering it right.
Yeah, he was Vandal Savage, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that immortal
the
doctor.
Immortal caveman.
Yep. So it was good. It was nice when they do those crossovers like that. So yeah.
All right, so I got the next question for you.
Perfect. Yeah, we got a little sidetrack there.
That's fine. I figured that would happen. It's only been 15 minutes anyways, so.
Yeah.
I got like a two-part here. It's what's your best and worst memory from a convention?
Oh, best and worst memory. Okay.
It can be something small or something big, doesn't matter.
Yeah. That's a tricky one. The first thought that comes to my mind for best and worst is at the same convention, at the same time. It was my first time going to Fan Expo. So this is back in 2019. And I'd never been before. I went up, it was last minute. I went up just for the Saturday, and got up there a little bit late and headed straight for the autograph lines to get in the lines. And I'm in line. I was going to see Tyler Hoechlin, so the current Superman, Tom Welling from Smallville, and I ended up getting Laura Vandervoort as well, Supergirl.
Yep.
That was a fluke, so that was a good part. Getting Tyler and Tom autographs or photos was perfect as well. The downside to that was I was not in any way, shape, or form prepared for how ginormous the lines were.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because like I'm standing in line for Tom Welling, it's already queued up and full up. I'm in that line. I see Tyler's line getting shorter and shorter, so I jump lines and get into Tyler's line and get get the autograph, the photo with Tyler. I get back in the Tom Welling line, and I'm hearing stories about from other people in the line that he's a little, at that point in time, he's a little finicky, and if you start trying to take pictures while you're in line, he's going to leave. Right? You'll
Oh,
get
really?
a warning, and then he's going to leave. He's going to, he's really good at it, but it was just kind of funny that I hear this rumor, and then somebody sneaks a picture, and he catches them, and off he goes. Right? He leaves. Now he comes back, but then he's got to leave again for a photo op
ops. Yeah.
Michael Rosenbaum and like the group photos and his individual photos. So then he's gone for a couple hours. So I'm in this line because at that time they didn't give you a ticket to come back, right? You had to stay queued. So basically, my whole time for my first time ever at Fan Expo was in these lines. So I hated the line because by the time I got through the line, my body was just screaming, "Get out!" Because I just wasn't prepared for how tightly packed, how crazy Saturdays are.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and but the nice thing, the plus was, hey, I got the autograph for those two, and as I was leaving, Laura was just wrapping up her booth appearance, and there was nobody there, so I was literally able just to walk right up to her and get a photo, right, which was great. So good and bad, same con, same day, but I've gotten much better with the lines, and I've learned now after all these years to space my autographs and my photos out. So if I go for a couple of days, I try to do a couple on one day, a couple on another, and that seems to work a lot better because then I can go and see things. Because as I've told people over the years, that day the only thing I saw at the con outside of the person's head in front of me in the line was the same stuff I saw coming in as I saw going out. Because I went out, left the same way, just that's the path I knew. So I didn't see anything else about the con that day. All I saw was the path into the autograph area and the path out to get outside. So,
yeah, because you just wanted to get all your autographs done, and that you only went for the one day, I'm guessing, that year.
Yeah, that was my first time going. I only went for the one day. It was a last minute thing. Found some extra cash, or got an extra bit of money on a paycheck or whatever it was. Had extra cash in my thing, and literally Friday night bought my ticket and hopped in my car Saturday morning and drove up and and did it, right? And I was just like jeans, t-shirt, and my Smallville leather jacket, right? That was it, and I've got, right, and the picture I've got with me and Tom Welling is him holding this.
Nice.
Right, so the Funko, the Funko
like a Smallville High Funko.
Yeah, so this is the Smallville one from the series finale when he goes up onto the at the very end.
Yeah. Now I can see it better.
Yeah. So I was trying to get it up closer here. So, and I've got a couple of great photos because when we were taking the photo, he's like doing this. He's waving it in front of my face. So one photo is just like that, and then the other photo is the good photo. So, But so that's my best and worst. Everything else since then I've had great experiences at all the cons I've gone to. Nothing bad at all. So
yeah, me too. I think other than a few awkward encounters with random people, and then it's been like really good at the cons. And my first time at I think it was Fan Expo, not Comic Con, but I got Hayden Christensen's autograph. And I waited for like 2.5 hours. So I know the hurt, because that was like, I hope you had some good people in line to hang out with, because that's what helped me the most.
yeah. That's been the funny thing for me is any con that I've gone to where I've gotten in the line for the photographs or the or autographs or the combination, like whether it's the professional photo op or just at their booth, I've been very, very fortunate to get around some really great people. I've made some good friends in those lines that I still talk to this day, even though it was like a few years ago at a random con, but it just made the line so much better. So I ended up having a big party with like 5 or 6 other people in line for Brandon Routh at Motor City Comic Con.
Sick.
Because there was a guy dressed in a Superman suit, another a girl had a
You've met most of the Supermen at this point now.
yeah,
Sounds like.
yeah. I've got Tyler, Dean, Tom. I still have to do Henry, and now David Cornsweet. So yeah, and unless I develop a time machine, I won't be doing Chris Reeve. So or
Right.
George Reeve or
Sadly.
Kirk Allen or any of those guys. So
who's the guy who voices them in the animated series?
oh well, there's a couple because
You're right. There's Superman the animated series. Is it?
Yeah, that was Tim Daly.
Tim Daly.
Yeah,
And then George Newborn, is he the one that voices? Yeah, I like them both. So
and then and Nick Cage voiced him on an episode of Teen Titans Go, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Jack Quaid voices him in the new cartoon.
And I can't even.
I think it's called The New Adventures with Superman. If anyone's interested.
Yeah, My Adventures with Superman. And they just finished season 2. They're working on season 3. The comic is good for it. The animation is awesome. So
nice.
Jack makes a good Superman. So
yeah, he's believable to me. Like,
yep. Oh yeah.
In voice, and he embodies the character in voice for sure.
Yep. And then of course there's the ongoing rumor that Michael Rosenbaum and Tom Welling are working on an animated Superman to continue Smallville, doing an animated version, which would be kind of fun if it ever comes to pass. Because I know they did a what they called like season 11 in the comics.
Yeah, the comic.
They did a comic run season 11, and they were able to touch on some stuff that they couldn't do in the show. Like they brought in Batman and they brought in a few other DC characters and things. So
yeah, it was originally pitched as a Batman show. So
yeah,
but then the budget didn't really call for a Batman show, so it was like Smallville, just kind of in this little town, and then they ended up making my favorite show.
Yeah, it fills in some of that lead up to going off to the fortress and what happened, what leads up to that. So it made it really interesting. So although lately I've been hearing a lot of people talking about how they weren't originally fans of the idea of Lex and Clark being friends.
Yeah, they definitely changed the canon a bit, but I think
actually
it's super
they didn't.
Fun.
Yeah, they didn't actually. In the comics, there was a Superboy comic where Lex and Clark were friends, and like Superboy and Lex were friends, and Lex got injured in an accident in his lab that led to him being bald, and and he blamed Superboy for the accident, and that's what shifted it.
Yeah, and on the show, he loses his hair from the meteor shower.
Yeah, and then but they still
become friends because Lionel Luthor moves to Smallville for a while, eh?
Yeah.
I haven't read that one then.
They showed that progression as Lex moves down the dark side of the dark side, and they drift apart, and that so they show a good progression. Like there's a lot of people that, and it's it's a good debate to have, as saying that Michael Rosenbaum's Lex Luthor is one of, if not the best iterations of Lex. Now Mike Rosenbaum always jokes that he had a conversation with Gene Hackman, and Gene Hackman said he's the second best Lex Luthor, sort of thing, and that's fair, because Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor is iconic too.
Yeah, definitely. He's a little bit more funny too, but I like all three or all four of those movies I've watched and enjoyed. But yeah, the first two are really good.
Yep. Yeah, well, those are widely acclaimed. The best. The story goes that Marvel, when they started
TV
Marvel,
shows.
No, the movies.
Oh, okay.
They used Superman, the original Superman with Chris Reeves, as the guide point. They would watch that movie and then design everything else around the way that movie was laid out, because they classified that as a masterpiece of storytelling, of comic book storytelling, of how to put everything together right. So they use that as the blueprint to build the Marvel universe.
Well, it's the best origin story on screen because it shows like everything in such a short amount of time, and it uses 3 different actors to quickly show him aging up to an adult in one movie.
Yeah.
Whereas like other great films like the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, like he's kind of an older actor already, and he just like kind of morphs into his own age by the end of the trilogy. But yeah, and I like when they use different actors. Anyways, it makes more sense to me.
Yeah, because if you can touch on some key points as things progress along, rather than having like a 30-year-old play an 18-year-old. And
Yeah, Henry Cavill was pretty old in that scene where. That's the one thing about that movie I thought was funny was they didn't have a different actor playing Henry while John Kent got taken by the tornado.
Oh yeah,
I felt like he should have been pretty young still, but I don't know.
Yeah, but
that's probably just a nitpick because they had a different. I thought they had another actor playing like the one that saves the kids on the bus.
Yeah, that was a different actor.
That was a younger actor. I thought they would have had him.
Actor. But with the way that could have, we all know people that look way older than they are, or look younger than they are, or things, because what was it, out of the Olympics, the hammer throw guy, the Canadian that won the medal in the hammer throw, was only in his 20s, but he looked like he was in his 40s because it was like big and bulky and bearded and grizzled looking, but he was only in his 20s. So it's like, he's got a long Olympic future ahead of him. So Henry, whatever age Henry was at when they filmed that scene, whether they de-aged him computer wise or not, for a little more relevance, it still worked for me, right? A little bit of a different take on Jonathan's death in Man of Steel, because normally it's always been a heart attack.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know that's a touchy subject for a lot of people, that that scene, but I just always thought it was funny, just the fact that he's like it's like the Tobey Maguire thing again, kind of is what I was getting at, like another example of that.
Oh yeah.
But then they're both great, so it's not like I hate them. It's just something kind of funny.
They're great scenes either way, and they get you to that same point. Oh, here's why he does what he does, sort of thing. So.
Okay, so I've got the next question that'll kind of just lead into a nice conversation here about Suit Up for Jack. How about you tell us a little bit about this and how you got involved with it?
Okay, yeah. Well, Suit Up for Jack, something close. It's become near and dear to my heart. It's something that I've enjoyed doing the last couple of years. It's given me connections to a lot of great people, and that's really what this is all about. But Jack is, I think he's 15 now. He has a blood disorder called aplastic anemia, and he requires multiple transfusions, like weekly. He has, he'll have health issues and concerns, but Jack himself is the greatest kid you'll ever meet, right? He's friendly, he's outgoing, he's smart as a whip. He's a gamer, he's a nerd, he cosplays, and the guy that organized it, Tim Drake on Facebook, the guy behind Suit Up for Jack, he organized this to help raise awareness, because that's a big need to have that kind of constant transfusions. And he started,
for sure.
Yeah, so he started this campaign a couple years ago, and they get together every year on or about Jack's birthday and do a blood donor clinic here in London at the local donor center, and encourage people to show up in costume. Now you can do that anytime. Just go and book your blood donor clinic wherever you happen to be. Take a couple of pictures of doing the donation. Tag Suit Up for Jack in that, and just use it to help raise awareness and get out there and do that. But the last couple of years we've had really good turnout. I just found out about it through some mutual cosplay friends who were looking for other cosplayers to come out. And I'd given blood years ago and hadn't really done anything like that in quite a while. So this was a great opportunity for me to get back into donating blood and plasma and things like that. And it's just become a great event. So I've done three Suit Up for Jacks now. And on my own, I've done 2 clinics on my birthday to try and help raise that awareness. But any chance I get, I go and give blood or plasma and try and tag Suit Up for Jack whenever I do that. Now, last year when I did my own birthday thing, I had people from Toronto and different areas giving donations as well, which is awesome. Yeah, and there's some of the pictures from it, last year's and the year before's, and that, which is great. And but yeah, you can do it anywhere, and the campaign has really grown because it's in London, it's in Ottawa. There's a group in Ottawa that do donations quite regularly. There's out across Canada, down into the States, like in Texas and California, and we're even over in Europe, into England and Germany and all of that. So it's really become a worldwide campaign to promote that awareness, and a lot of that just has to do with Jack. Now this guy here, this is the Fazguardian on Instagram, FAZAR GARDIAN, Fazguardian. So as Asgardian, but he cosplays as Thor the majority of the time. He comes out pretty much every year and does it. So this was from this year's my birthday event this year. If you go to suitupforjack.com, you can find out all the details about it. You can join the Suit Up for Jack team at blood.ca. So anytime you donate, it raises a count toward that team goal to but you're just out there promoting that awareness. So yeah.
Yeah, I started following him after I met all you guys. I went to my first blood clinic and donated on on Keith L's birthday there.
Yeah, and again, thank you
for
coming out doing that first time donation and that. So yeah, so that's Tim there in the center, one of the organizers for the Suit Up for Jack campaign. And do you have the group shot handy?
I have all of them here. I can find it.
Yeah, because if you have the group shot, there it is. Yep.
There was a few good ones, but I just clicked the first one I saw.
Yep. Yeah. No. The guy next to me on my right in the scarecrow mask, that's Jack, and then that's his brother next to him is Wolverine, and his mom. And I can't ever remember her name, but the character name, but that's the from Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, the
Charlize Theron character.
Yeah, Clea, the daughter of Dormammu, who becomes Mrs. Strange in the comics, from what I understand. And it's great because she cosplays, he cosplays. The brother there, Wolverine, that was his first donation like you, and as well as his first time cosplaying, because they were always kidding him with the way he was looking, that he very much looked like Wolverine. So he grabbed some claws, grabbed the cigar, and killed it. So it was great to have those guys out. And even the guys at the donor center they always love having us come out, because we get a group coming in costume, and it's always just so much fun, and they just love seeing the costumes come out as well. And like Jack's event, we had a lot more people. Like we had some Harley Quinns, some Deadpools, and that. So yeah, it's always a good time. So yep. So
yeah, Suit Up for Jack, everybody. It's a great cause. If you can donate blood, if you have the option to, I highly recommend it. It's not as scary as everyone thinks.
Yeah, no, the staff is great. They'll walk you through it. You don't have to wear a costume. If you have like a T-shirt, you can wear that. But the donation is the big thing. So you don't have to get all dressed up like as cosplayers. You can just go and and donate blood. And because it's really about the whole campaign is really about raising awareness, because like Jack, there are thousands and thousands of people that have different blood disorders and things that require blood for more things. And if you can do blood donation or a plasma donation, the plasma donations go a lot further because there's so many more things that they can do with the plasma compared to the blood.
And you can donate plasma a lot more frequently.
Yeah, the plasma, I believe it's either every week or every 2 weeks, because it replenishes much quicker. Your blood is, depending on your body type, can be 30 to 60 days between donations. Right. But now the great thing is when you get your account created with like blood.ca or wherever your local donation center is, like US, Europe, wherever it is, most of the time they'll be able to tell you right away like when your next donation is when you'll be eligible for your next donation, so you can plan that and do it consistently. There's one lady there, the girl dressed as Supergirl, right in the center of the screen there next to that "Don't laugh, he's doing it." Yep. That's her name is Francesca, and she's at 100 and, well, last count that I'm aware of was 106 donations, because she goes in and she donates plasma. Now she's done the majority of that 100 donations like just this year, right? Because of how frequently you could donate.
Yeah, that's incredible. Wow.
Right. And she always dresses up in costume, and the timing,
real life superhero right here, folks.
Yeah. When she hit her 100th donation, I dropped off a Superman pin for her at the clinic, because I wasn't going to be able to be there when she did it. So I went by the clinic and dropped off a pin for her, because I've got a friend that did me up a bunch of Superman pins,
right,
that I can give out. I'm going to pull one out.
I think you have them on your page here too.
Yeah.
Is this them?
That's a collection of them. The one that I was given to give out is the one at the bottom there. I'm pointing at the screen, like you can see that.
The top one?
Nope, this one.
Here, I'll pull you back up here. Oh, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So this is the So this is the new one. Yeah, this is the new logo for the James Gunn movie, right? That's coming out next year, based around, like, loosely around the Kingdom Come logo, right? The Kingdom Come Superman logo. But I have a friend that made a bunch of these up and gave me a bunch to give out as I see fit. So when Francesca hit her 100th donation, I went and made sure she got one of those pins, because that's a big achievement. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I've got a little way to go before I get to 100.
Yeah, well, I'm at 1, so I got a long way to go.
Yeah, but you've started now, and that's important.
Yeah,
again,
I think I really want to keep doing it, and I don't know if I'm brave enough to. I'm gonna try plasma eventually, and then if I'm brave enough, I'll keep doing that too.
Yeah, the plasma, like we talked about the other day, the plasma takes a little bit longer, just because it's a little bit of a different process, and but it's totally worth it. Like I said, the plasma donation itself can be broken down and used in so many other tests and products and services and things like that. So it's really a good way to go, if you can donate the plasma. But you got to plan for that one, because it's a little more involved. But they'll test you for that and see. And if your blood donations are going well, they would encourage you to do plasma or platelets as well. So they'll ask you for that. So yeah. Oh, now you're trolling my site. Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly point out this costume, because I didn't know if we were gonna get to it. The composite Superman is a great outfit.
Yeah, that's when I went to Metropolis, Illinois, back in 2019 for my first Superman celebration, because Metropolis, Illinois, a little town in the southernmost part of the state of Illinois in the States. They petitioned DC years and years ago and got officially recognized as the Metropolis. Right? They even had their own
Nice.
daily newspaper for quite a while, so they host a Superman celebration every year. So when I went in 2019, that was the 42nd. I think it was the 42nd celebration, and that was where I got to meet Erica Durance, who played Lois Lane on Smallville, Helen Slater, who was the original Supergirl, and Katrina Law, who was Nissa Al Ghul in the Arrowverse on the CW.
Yep.
But I met some great cosplayers, and one of them has helped me make my costumes, and he made that costume for me because he has his own version of it. So I asked him to make that for me, the composite Superman. So he did that up to my measurements, and it's a fun character to wear because the diehards know exactly what it is. Like the diehards know exactly what it is. Other people think it's a great mashup or make the joke that, oh, you couldn't decide what you wanted to be.
Yeah.
Couldn't decide between Batman and Superman. So it's like,
Well, he did a great job. Like,
oh yeah.
Is there two versions of it? Where'd the other halves go?
Yeah. Well, you have the mirror universe version, right? So the opposites, but yeah. I'm still adding to it. I've got to get the green down because as we were talking about the character itself is an amalgamation of all the Legion of Superheroes characters from the Superboy comics.
Okay.
And so he has green skin because he's absorbed part of Brainiac 5's ability, so he has the green skin. So I'm trying to get a green glove for my hand so that I can touch things when I'm in this costume without having to worry about leaving makeup stains all over. I've got the cowl down. I've just got to get something for the eye to cover the eye up.
Do you need a Legion ring to fly though, or can you fly without one?
I can fly without one because he got Superman's abilities in there too. But a Legion ring is something I want to get. So,
yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay. Yeah, hold on, just because I've got.
Oh, cool.
Whoops. I've got the Funko of that character. So now you can see the green skin a little more. I'm holding that right. Yeah, there we go. You can see the green skin a little bit more, and I need to get that white for the eye. But
right, for the bat, that would look really good.
Yeah, so I've got the cowl. I just need to find something to do the eye. So
how does the cowl stay on your head? I gotta ask.
I've got a combination of bobby pins and glue, spirit gum or something that I put on the face to hold it. I've still got to get better at that, but it's a work in progress. So that's certainly my most complicated cosplay. So,
yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I know, I appreciate that. Yeah, but it definitely catches a lot of people. Like I wore it at Forest City Comic Con and went for a walk through the Children's Festival, and on one half where you could see Batman, I've got all these kids yelling, "Hey, Batman!" And then I turn and it's like, what? And on the other side where it's Superman, it's like it's always I get a good reaction with that suit. So
yeah, it's a fun one.
Yeah. But like I said, the diehards know the character. Usually the comic book sellers or the comic artists know it, but most everybody else just sees it as a mashup of Superman and Batman. They don't know the character. It is a pretty deep cut. So
yeah, it's a pretty good villain.
Yeah, and like I said the other night when we were talking about this podcast, it surprised me. I forgot that he was actually a Superman villain. So it was just kind of when I started digging into it to make sure I had the facts down for the questions I was invariably going to get wearing it. It surprised me to discover that it was a villain. Because
yeah, now it all worked out.
Yeah, because now they've done a Superman Batman fusion character, a little bit different than composite Superman, but it's a fusion of Batman and Superman, where it's the two of them combined. So it's a good guy instead of a bad guy, right? So
I've been waiting to see someone do a Zur-En-Arrh Batman from the
Oh
from
yeah.
that, where he's like he's got Superman's powers on a different planet.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there'll be a few of those somewhere, like at some of the bigger cons, like New York Comic Con or San Diego Comic Con. I'm sure there'll be some
Mhm.
other deep cuts there. So
I was thinking about maybe making my own Bizarro, like taking a Superman costume and changing it into a Bizarro one.
yep,
Because
yep,
I have a few friends who do like good face makeup, and I think that would be like a really good one to just go up like pitch white on my hands and my and my
yep.
face.
Yeah. Well, you can order the Bizarro crest
Yeah.
online. Like there's an Etsy shop. I think they have a Bizarro one. So you can make
Okay.
that easy. So
I gotta look into that then. That's sweet.
yeah, but that's a good segue too because
Tyler Hecklin, eh?
Tyler Hoechlin's the
That looks
Bizarro
really
from last,
good.
yeah, from last season's Superman and Lois. So, oops, sorry, the
Is
green screen
that
is
a
bad.
is that what sorry, what brand is that that figure from?
That is SSR.
Okay.
SSR, yeah. And so I've got that one, and I've got it's a Tyler Hoechlin version of it, but that's the inverse Superman from last season's Superman and Lois. So
Yeah.
and yeah, because some of the characters don't have good figures, so when you see a good uh, unlicensed version, you kind of want to jump on it. So
Yeah, that's a good one.
yeah,
So I got another one of the last questions really, but this is about what you got to do at London Comic Con, and which was running your own panel
yeah,
with the lovely Laura Vandervoort, who played Kara slash Supergirl on Smallville.
yep, yeah, yeah. That was a big thing. Yeah, the I've wanted, because of the people that I hang out with, the cosplay community, people that I've become friends with. Some of them do podcasts, some of them do charity events, and it's really started to rub off on me. And I've got other friends that just do Superman themed podcasts, like Luke Bug, the Geek of Steel, has a great podcast, and we've become friends over the years. And and they've really inspired me to start trying to branch out and do more things with that. And because I started doing the Suit Up for Jack stuff and helped out at their booth last year at London Comic Con, going to the Children's Hospital, you had that photo up for a minute that I go to the Children's Hospital, and that it got me in the urge when I saw that Laura was a guest. I reached out to the London Comic Con organizers and asked them about doing the panel. Now they said, first off, they said that normally they give it to media people, so media gets first dibs at it. And I said, well, I'd like to throw my hat in the ring if I can. So they put my hat in the ring, and I guess nobody had stepped up to do a panel with her. So they reached out to me a few days before the con and said, you got it, you get to do the panel. And so it was fun because, like I said, back in 2019, I'd met Laura. I follow her on Instagram. We joked a little bit in 2019 because I had just come from the Metropolis Superman celebration meeting Helen Slater. So when I was getting my photo with Laura at Fan Expo, I said to her, it's great to get a photo with my second favorite Supergirl. And she goes, what, second favorite? Gives me this mean look. And I said, well, I just met Helen Slater, so she immediately forgave me. Right. And I reminded her of that when I talked to her before the panel, because I went up and had a chat with her earlier in the day at the con, to find out what she wanted to talk about for the panel, where she wanted the focus to be, things like that. We knew it was going to be like a lot of Q&A stuff, and the focus would probably be on Bitten and her other shows in Smallville, of course, and a lot of the questions were.
Yeah.
But we got to
I
talk a lot
started
about.
following her on Instagram too. She does crazy stunt work. Like
Oh yeah,
she's
yep,
a
very.
black belt and like I don't know if multiple disciplines, but at least one. She's a
Oh
black
yeah, well
belt.
she grew up studying karate. Her whole family are black belts, and I can't remember if she competed or not, but she has that background, so the stunt work and that came very easy to her. The fight scenes came very easy to her, so she handled the flying and on Smallville really easily because of that
Yeah.
that training and things, and that. But yeah, we had a great panel, great conversation before and after. So it was definitely a big feather in my cap and a highlight to be able to do that. And she said I did really well for my first ever panel. Yeah, there's one of the photos there. So, and but like I said, I talked to her beforehand, and she appreciated the research that I had done, so I could lead the questions a little bit and get her to talk about her projects, like some of her movies, and like oh geez, I can't even think of the movie now. um, Age of Dysphoria, that she did with her uncle Gordon Pinson, and that was kind of a neat thing to find out, is that her uncle is like a Canadian icon in acting, like Gordon Pinson, and he had given her all sorts of tips and coaching and mentoring as she was starting out her career in this, and that. So we had a good time, and yep. There's one of the photos from the stage, so which was great. And but she was wonderful, friendly, helpful, accommodating, answered all the questions. Didn't kill me after when we wished her a happy birthday, because her birthday was like the following week after the con. And because that was how I ended the panel, was getting everybody to wish her a happy birthday. We didn't sing, but we wished her a happy birthday, and we had a great time. So
yeah, she was so cool. I thought she was one of the most down to earth like celebrities I've ever met. It's just
yeah,
such
and
just
yeah,
so it throws you off your feet a little bit. Like you're like, oh, okay, so you're gonna carry the conversation and be a normal person, I guess. That's awesome.
yeah, and that's the thing. We got to talk a lot about her movies, her project, her goals for the future, all sorts of stuff, and had a great time. I was even making jokes with her fiance after about different things, just talking at her booth after. So it was just it was a lot of fun. So, and her whole Instagram feed is like that. It's all behind the scenes stuff. It's pictures of her dog,
Yeah.
the family. She got all her Halloween pictures up, taking her niece trick or treating, things like that, and it's just wonderful stuff. So.
Yeah, that's so cool you got to do that. That's something I'd want to do eventually, and I think you did a really good job. Like,
Appreciate it.
it's
Yeah.
like that's kind of how I met you. Was we'd gotten a picture before that.
Yep.
Well, we're both dressed as Superman, and then you Clark Kented me because I didn't recognize you at first and then you came up and you're like started talking to me after your panel, and I was like, oh my god, that's the same guy.
Yeah.
But he's dressed in Smallville instead of Superman now.
Yeah, well, I switched to the Smallville get up for
the glasses, man. It works better than people realize, because that was the main difference.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, they say that all the time. That's that's the funny thing, and I've even run with that joke too. Like, if people see me dressed like this with my glasses on, and they look at me kind of funny, and I just say it's the kryptonite in the ventilation system. So, and
yeah, you gotta wear the glasses.
Yeah, I
can't. You got a kryptonite
I can't
prescription.
Yeah, I can't see very well without them, so it's like I need to have them on for a lot of stuff. But yeah, and that's one of my favorite stories, is Henry Cavill tells a story about going to New York, because people were not believing that there's that much of a difference, and he tells a story about going to Times Square in a Superman T-shirt and standing under the Man of Steel sign, right, with his face on it.
Yeah.
And nobody recognizing, nobody putting it together, and getting asked for directions, right? Not like, hey, can I get a photo? It's like, he's standing right there, Superman's standing right there, and you're not recognizing him. So it's like, but so
was that after the movie had already come out?
Yeah, because it was a billboard in Times Square advertising the movie.
Okay.
So he's standing there in a Superman Man of Steel T-shirt, like with the logo, and right under his billboard, and nobody's putting it together. It's like, oh, come on, So, but it can be fun, yeah. Like, but when I like, so it works. So
Yeah, I had one more point about the Laura Vandervoort because I talked to her right after your panel, and I asked a question during the panel, which was like, how did she film the underwater scene where she met when she like is first introduced in the show, and they apparently like they filmed it in a parking lot in Vancouver in like February.
Yep.
So it was freezing.
Oh yeah.
And they just did it in like a big tank.
Yep. They had her submerged in a tank with like scuba divers off camera so that they could get her the oxygen mask, and they just had to do it really quick because when she came out of the water, of course, she's like freezing cold because it's Vancouver in January. And the only question I didn't get a chance, there were only two things I didn't get to ask her about, and one was her book, because she wrote a kid's book. But in hindsight 2020, those questions didn't matter because we talked about the stuff that she wanted to talk about. The other one that I didn't get to ask her about was the what she deemed the neat vampires, because she did that show Bitten, or not vampires, werewolves. So she did this werewolf show called Bitten that they filmed like in St. Mary's and that, and it was really well received. It's on Netflix now, so she's been promoting that being available on Netflix Canada.
I gotta watch all that.
Yeah, and but there was another interview, I think, on George Stroumboulopoulos from a few years ago when that show was on, where she used the phrase "neat vampires" or neat werewolves, because normally when the werewolves would change, right, their clothes just shred and things, so they would go out into the woods to film the change, right, and they would basically get out of their clothes to film the convulsing and that, but they would fold the clothes up and stack them nice and neatly over to one side and then film the scene. And so they coined the phrase neat werewolves, and I never got to ask her about that. But the great thing about the panel was that we had such great questions, like your question and so many other great questions from the audience, that led so nicely into stuff that I already knew about, that I had on my list. I had like 3 pages of questions to have some backups in case some things didn't get answered, but so many of the questions led into stuff that I had written down, so we could just expand on that stuff so much. So
yeah, I think you bounced off the audience and Laura really well, and it was like a good flow. I've seen other panels where, like, not that the person running the panel was bad, but their questions weren't really that good, like more just like really generic, I guess. And it's kind of nice to actually hear some more in-depth or specific questions, or something that the person's passionate about, like Laura talking about her indie film work and her TV show work, right?
Oh yeah, and she's got such a background in that, and a good production partner in that, so it was really great to let her bring that out, and she really appreciated the fact that we focused on that, and the forward work, and didn't stay back with Smallville and Bitten and V Wars and all those things that she's all that genre stuff that she's done. So because that was when I researched it, all the videos that I saw for the other interviews, that's the kind of stuff that they focused on, right? All that, like interviews from other cons, news interviews, things like that. They were focused on those things and didn't really talk about some of this other stuff as much. So it was really great to be able to do that.
That was a good idea. You did your research and it showed.
Yeah, and she, like I said, she appreciated that. Jacob and the guys behind London Comic Con were really pleased with how it came out. So who knows? I might get asked to do other stuff with them. And but I also talked to a lot of guys that I know that do podcasts. Like I talked to the guys behind Geeks and Company. I talked to Stuart Foley, who does the Trek Yards stuff, the Star Trek stuff.
Yep.
And I talked to Luke, my friend Luke, about his podcast and doing interviews and things, because he does the same thing. He talks to a lot of different people about a lot of different subjects. A lot of it all, of course, Superman related, because Luke is the geek of steel.
Cool.
and that's why I was picking their brains on things to look for, things to ask, things to. But the thing that came to my mind right off the bat was I need to go and talk to Laura. So that's what I did. The minute I got to the con, I went and introduced myself to her. Said, I'm going to be doing your panel this afternoon. Is there anything that you don't want to talk about? Anything you want to focus on? Anything? Any boundaries, right?
There was only one gaffe that happened in the interview because I talked to her after and we were talking about John Schneider.
Yeah.
And she realized that you had asked her about John Glover and she mixed him up with John Schneider and she told you she never met John Glover. And she was like, oh, I frigged that up. Because like I was talking to her literally right after. I think I talked to you and then I went right to her booth.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. And we talked a couple of days later.
Of course, I've met John Glover. I've not met John Schneider because he died, or his character died before her character shows up.
Yeah. She went to a Smallville con in New Jersey a couple of weeks after the con. So when she posted a picture from that, and I said, okay, so now you've met him. And
I have a good friend that attends all of those. He's like become friends with the cast because he goes to everything.
Yeah. So after that con, I messaged her saying, so now you can't say you haven't met Glover. And then she told me about that exchange and how she realized after that she'd gotten the name wrong, and that. So it's just kind of funny. So yeah,
but that's an easy mix-up. John Kent, John Glover, John Schneider. You gotta kind of gets all in your head a bit, probably.
Yep. Oh yeah, you get all these Johns, and you got to try and keep them all straight. So yeah.
So I think I only have like a couple more questions, unless there's something else you wanted to bring up. You can.
No, we've talked about a lot of stuff. Like it's it's just been fun. Like I haven't been doing this long. Like
yeah, I try to focus these on who I'm interviewing more than what they're about and the message.
This is the kind of stuff that I want to do more of too, especially since doing that panel with Laura. So I appreciate the invitation to come on. But I haven't been cosplaying seriously that long. Like I've got pictures from like 2016 dressed up in like what I call my party Superman suit that I picked up at like Spirit Halloween.
The muscle suit one, right?
Yeah, that you pull on over your clothes. And then I had that one when I went to Metropolis in 2019, but then I hung out with all those guys that have really good costumes and met a few guys that make their own costumes. And that's how I got into getting these suits. And it led me to all sorts of other people. So like that composite suit, my Kingdom Come suit, like my original Kingdom Come suit, more closer to the comic version than the one that I normally wear. I've had those made for me. The one that we've got the picture of together, where we're both in our Kingdom Come suits, that one was a compilation of the belt and the trunks from my costume maker, the emblem from the shop on Etsy.
Your emblem looks really good. Like in our picture, mine's really shiny, and yours absorbs all the light really well.
Yeah, there's a great guy on Etsy called Cup Creations, and that's where I got like this logo and that logo and the belt and things like that. So I put those together. That suit, my Kingdom Come suit, is more akin to the CW Crisis on Infinite Earths crossovers between their Arrowverse shows.
Yeah.
So that's where that one's patterned after. But I had more of a classic version.
The lighter blue one, right? Yeah. Does it have a darker symbol too, or?
Yeah, it has the dark symbol.
Or it's more. It's they're both black and red, but it's like more black, right?
Yeah, and that one's gotten a little stretched, so it doesn't quite fit me as well as like the more lycra suit. So I'm wearing that one more, and as I joke, I'm sort of embracing the age and staying more with the Kingdom Come suits than anything else. So I'm kind of looking forward to doing the regeneration suit when I can get the right boots. Maybe doing
That'll be cool.
yeah, I kind of want to do a Justice Lord one, the black and white one.
Yeah, it kind of looks like the regeneration suit, doesn't it?
Yeah, because but he's got the gray hair in it too, right? So
I know what you mean. I was looking at that earlier. Nice.
Right, the Justice Lord one. So more like that because there's the gray hair and right. So and but yeah, that was the other thing I wanted to show you because you wanted me to have a couple of figures sitting around just in case. So
Oh, dude, that's exactly my costume right there.
yeah, yeah. Well, mine too, right?
And yours.
Yeah. So, but
just not the one you're wearing right now.
No, this one's the Superman and Lois, season 2, I think, something like that. I never got to. That was the funniest one. One of the funny stories is I had this suit on. I had this suit on order, or was it this suit? Oh yeah, I had this suit on order, and it got delayed because of COVID.
Right.
Right, and because of the COVID pandemic, the shop that made the bodysuit, got shut down because they got COVID. So it delayed the order getting to me, and so I didn't have the suit in time for when I met Tyler and Bitsy Tulloch at Fan Expo back in 2022, I think. And I really wanted to be able to have this suit and have a picture with me in the Superman Lois suit with Superman. So, but I've stayed with my I've stayed with my game, and most of my shots, Superman related shots, I'm usually wearing the Smallville jacket.
Right.
So yeah, I've got a few shots where I'm in costume. For some of the photos, but most of the time, most of the Superman related shots, I'm in my Smallville jacket. So
I see sometimes you're like wearing your Superman, but you're posing with Charlie Cox and the Marvel guys, which is pretty good too. I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, that was last year's Fan Expo. I think I got the shot with the guys from Cobra Kai, so Ralph Macchio and William Zabka, and I can't even think of his name. The guy that plays Chosen.
Okay.
And I'm in my Kingdom Come suit. In the photo, those guys, I'm in my Kingdom Come suit with Vincent D'Onofrio and John Barenthal and Charlie Cox, and that. So it's like, yeah. Even Ming Na Wen, I'm in my Superman suit with her, which is funny.
I missed out on Ming Na Wen because I was busy in line for Hayden Christensen that year.
Oh yeah. Well, those lines were insane. I
felt pretty sad because she wasn't there the next weekend or the next year, so I was like,
yeah.
But I was like a big Mulan fan growing up. Like that's one of those first.
Yep.
It's like one of the first movies I would have seen in theaters, I think.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big fan of hers from The Mandalorian and all those things. Not to mention all the Disney stuff, and then the stuff she's done just on top of that, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all of those things. So it was just too good an opportunity to not take advantage of. So, oh, perfect.
This is what I got to get her to sign eventually, but I've got so many people on here already.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's a good collection of autographs.
And I love the picture. It's really like a simplistic one.
Yep.
I'm trying to find my Superman one here. It's a Dean Cain
one.
Nice. But I've got Dean Cain, Laura Vandervoort, John Glover, and John Schneider on this one.
Okay. Yeah.
Whoops, TV turned on.
Yep, I hear that.
My bad.
Yeah,
Skynet's coming after me.
Yeah, the closest I've got to like something similar to your Mandalorian signs are my Christopher Reeve collection autographs. A couple of years ago, I don't have a Christopher Reeve autograph yet. Let me clarify that. But a couple of years ago, they did a Christopher Reeve Legacy reunion at Motor City Comic Con, and
you got Gene Hackman's autograph, right?
I got Gene's. Yep. They had as many of the surviving cast of all 4 Superman movies at that con as you could get. So I've got Mark Pillow, who is Nuclear Man. I've got Jimmy Olsen. I've got Mariel Hemingway. I've got Ursa and Non, and Aaron Smolinski, who was Baby Kal-El in the coming out of the spacecraft.
Right.
Right. And lifting the truck.
Yeah, of course he'd be alive.
Yeah. And now the neat thing about that is he was also the kid in number 3 at the photo booth.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. They he had a ball cap on. He's older, so you wouldn't know, but he was also the kid at the photo booth when Clark goes in there to change and then grabs the photo strip and gives him the bottom picture where it's Superman in costume, not the ones where he's changing. But that was Aaron Slominski too. And
it's like how I remember another like crossover is Terrence Stamp, the guy who played Zod.
Yep.
He plays Kal-El's dad in Smallville.
Yep. Yeah. He plays Jor-El, the voice of Jor-El in Smallville. He's where was he? He was Stick in the Daredevil movie.
Oh yeah.
And Elektra in the Elektra
with
movie.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner, and that he was the guy that trains him. So that was kind of neat, but it was too good to have him as the voice of Jor-El. So immediately everybody that knew started thinking, okay, there's going to be a twist here. That's not really Jor-El. That's but it really was. So, but yeah, no, that was good. But yeah, and then I managed to get Jeff East, the guy that was young Clark Kent, the high school Clark Kent.
Yeah.
In the movie, I've got his autograph, and
that guy can kick a football, I tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I managed to get Gene Hackman's autograph as well. So, but I got the group photo of everybody, and then the individual autograph pictures. I just need to get a big enough frame to put all those images together.
Yeah, that would look great.
So yeah, I think I've got a big enough frame for everything. I've just got to find a way to organize it. So, but yeah, that's the thing, and there's still more Superman autographs to get. Like I still need to get Terry Hatcher. I still need to get John Schneider. I still need to get Annette O'Toole.
Yeah, Annette O'Toole was who I was thinking of that should have been at that cast there too.
Yeah.
I think I might cry if I ever met Annette O'Toole. She is like the best Martha Kent that's ever been put on screen, and same with John. But like, I felt like her performance was like what was almost like well and above almost everyone else on the show.
Oh yeah, she was just
which is
phenomenal.
not a slander to anyone else. Just like she was perfect.
Oh no, almost every episode of Talkville, the Smallville rewatch podcast that Michael Rosenbaum and Tom Welling do, they sing the praises of how Annette just killed every scene she was in. Like almost every episode, there's some reference to how good she was in this scene or that scene on that episode that they're reviewing. Yeah,
she made it feel real to me. Like I recently rewatched the whole series. Like 6 months ago, and it was like, she's got it.
I'm dying to meet her if I ever get a chance. Terry Hatcher, the whole 9 yards. Yeah. So the last year Rhode Island Comic Con had a whole Superman thing where they had like cast from the cartoon, the animated series, and they had Dean and they had John Schneider and John Glover and Michael Rosenbaum and
Wow.
Tyler Hoechlin and the kids, right, from Superman and Lois, and it was
Yeah.
just amazing. I just couldn't make it work to get down there because that would have just been, I would have been bankrupt. I'd be living on the street right now because of the money I would have spent on those autographs.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah, done. Worth it.
I wouldn't be able to help myself either.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I was trying to go because I had a couple friends going, and even the debate was just to say, here's $200, get me autographs from this person, this person, and this person, and do it. Get it done. But something like that, that's one of those ones that I want to get done in person. So, so.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. And but yeah, now next up for me is another visit to the Children's Hospital. So I've started doing that recently, thanks again to some friends that do those sort of things. It's kind of fun just to get it dressed up in the suit and go in, and the smiles on people's faces, and both parents and kids, and just some of the employees, even just the fact that somebody's doing something like that. So it's is really really a big thing. So
well, that's cool that you do that. And like the great Stanley said, and I'm gonna paraphrase here, he said something along the lines of, don't worry about what you look like while you're doing it, as long as you feel good and what you're doing makes others feel good and it makes you feel good, just keep on doing it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's the way cosplay should be as well, like supportive, encouraging, and it doesn't matter whether you've got like a $1,000 costume or the $60 party suit from Spirit Halloween. As long if you're playing a character that means something to you, that's all that matters, and that's all that should matter to anybody. Nobody should be giving you grief about oh, that's not comic accurate or anything. Like my the best example I can give is when I first got my Kingdom Come suit, the one that I wear the majority of the time now. I didn't have a belt that would fit. The belt I had from the one that I had made for me was too thick to go through the straps.
Oh yeah.
On the trunks. So I was basically using the plainest gold buckled dress belt that I had, just to have a belt there, and nobody said a thing, right? Which was the way it should be, because the belt's not right, but now that I've got the right belt, it makes all the difference in the world, right? But nobody said, no, you're not Superman because the belt's wrong. Right? And that's the way it should be. And I've seen other guys that have put together just like something around a t-shirt, and I've complimented them on how good that looked, because they're making the effort to represent a character they have a connection to.
I think that's cool too. I like when people make joke characters or mash up characters. Like, you can do whatever you want as long as you're having fun and it's not hurting anybody.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what it should all be about, right? And we should be embracing each other and supporting each other, and not giving people a hard time if this isn't right or that isn't right. And there's still a little bit of, I guess the phrase is gatekeeping.
Yeah.
On some levels of the cosplay community, and that's why I appreciate guys like
as a Star Wars fan, I understand the word gatekeeping quite a bit. There's a lot of that going around.
yeah, and there shouldn't be any of that. We should be embracing each other and supporting each other, and encouraging each other, right?
Exactly.
And so far, that's knock on wood, that's been my experience, is all this supportive stuff. Like, I've got great friends in the cosplay community, and they've been nothing but supportive and encouraging, and setting the right outlook, right, for that. And the example I keep coming back to is the Geeks and Company guys. When they have their community booths at London Comic Con, at Fan Expo, at wherever they show up, that's always been touted as a safe space. If you're feeling uncomfortable, if you're feeling weirded out, if you're feeling stressed out, if the con doesn't have a place where you can go to unwind, right, or relax or chill out, find their booth, and they'll give you that space to chill.
Yeah, the
right?
Geeks and Co guys are great.
Yeah,
I've seen them at a few different places now. Anyways,
yeah. Well,
because I've been to Motor City as well. I went to that one last year. You were talking about it earlier. I was like, yeah, Motor City's pretty fun. It's like,
yeah.
it's similar to, it's like in between London and Toronto as far as like size.
Oh yeah. Well, I'd say
It's
it's
kind of
bigger
cool.
than Toronto.
Oh, you think
Like
so?
I'd put, because of the number of guests they get and the venue that they fill over their 3 days, like the one they do in May. I don't know what the one in November is like. I haven't been to that one yet. But
Okay,
the one
that's the one I went to. So I was probably at the smaller one, was why.
yeah,
I went to the one in
May.
November.
Yeah, the one in May is just monstrously huge. It usually coincides with our Victoria Day weekend.
Okay.
Right, and it's huge and crazy and insane and just phenomenal. But it's always, I've always had great fun there. But I personally, I put that one closer to things like not San Diego Comic Con, that's the big one, but like New York Comic Con, and that for size and scope.
Yeah.
Right. But outside of Fan Expo, like the one in Toronto at the end of August, I'd say Motor City Comic Con is comparable in size in that.
I
But
have
it's
to
just,
go to that one. I haven't been to the one in May. That sounds like a lot of fun.
yeah, yeah. I want to go to I want to check out the November one. I'm tempted to go. I'm quite honestly tempted to go next weekend.
I was
Um,
planning on it, but I ended up having like so many different plans with
yeah,
family that weekend that it's just not possible. But like
yeah.
Ron Perlman and I know there's a good lineup of guests anyways, but I
Oh
really
yeah.
wanted to
They
go
always
meet
get
Ron Perlman and
yeah, they
John
always
Rhys
get a great lineup.
Davies.
Yeah, and that's why I want to go, is for John Rhys Davies, because I missed him at Fan Expo this year.
Yeah.
Because I've got my Sala Funko Pop that I want to get autographed.
There was way too many Star Wars people at Fan Expo this year. I was like, I was busy all 3 days meeting. Actually, I didn't even get to meet Rosario Dawson, but I got a picture with her. And
Yeah,
then, but there was so many other people from Star Wars there, and there was like 4 Star Wars people who canceled. So it was pretty crazy.
yeah, oh yeah. I was planning to go to Fan Expo. I had the room booked and everything was all set to go, and then they started adding more and more and more guests, and it's like, oh, well, the room's going to cost me this. That's going to cost me this. I'm up to this. No, and I hadn't even bought tickets yet. Hadn't even bought my tickets yet, and it's like, oh man. So I just went, oh, I'm done. I can't go.
Yeah, I
And
spent way too much money that weekend.
yeah, yeah. Well, I did that last year with the Cobra Kai guys, with the Daredevil guys, with Ming Na Wen. It's just, yeah,
Yeah, getting the whole 9 yards is not
yeah,
cheap.
yeah, yeah. And I went VIP so I could get in and get out really quick, right? So, but yeah, so I didn't do as many cons this year as I wanted to do, but hopefully next year I'll get back on track with those. So
Yeah, I've just started kind of the past 2 years going. I went. I've been to Fan Expo, London Comic Con, and I've
yep,
been to Motor City, and
yep,
now I've been to Buffalo uh,
okay,
Comic
yep,
Con. I met a friend there, and that was a good time.
yeah, yeah. I try at the beginning of the year to go through the cons that I know about and put down the dates as to when
Hmm.
they're going, and put it on my board so I can try and plan for those cons and see what ones I can make work. So it's like London Comic Con, Forest City Comic Con, Niagara Falls Comic Con, Hamilton Comic Con, Fan Expo, Toronto Comic Con, Motor City Comic Con. Like there's a good CK Expo in Chatham. There's a good 10 or 12 cons all within, a couple hours driving time. So
Yeah, exactly. we're pretty central where we are, kind of lucky that way.
Yeah, yeah,
At least for those cons.
yep, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, Nickel City Comic Con, Buffalo Comic Con, those are things I would like to do. Get into a couple more in the States there, and go to some of those bigger ones. So
Yeah,
yeah,
Nickel City, that's what it was.
yeah,
Yeah. So I was thinking in the future we should do like a partner costume, and I want to do like the clone of Superman. Like you could be Superman. Doesn't
yeah,
matter what Superman, because it's Superman from the animated series. Kind of looks like most of them.
yeah.
And then I could do like the black shirt and big belt buckle for Connor Kent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've done that. I haven't done that one officially. I've got the black shirt with the red logo. Um, I've got that T-shirt. I haven't done that one officially, but I stick more to the costumes. So that would be a good one to work out. So
Yeah, I think that would be funny for pictures, anyways. Now we got the
absolutely.
same. I can try and get the same haircut as you too.
Yeah. Well, if I decide to go after the regeneration suit, I gotta let this grow out. I gotta go what you did with the
Yeah,
long hair, get the mullet. So although I can always
right
find a
on.
wig. So
Yeah, wigs are probably the easiest way to go.
yeah,
I was thinking
yeah,
about getting a Clark Kent wig for going to a Halloween party later, but
yeah.
the one I got, it looks like I look really it's a lot more emo. Like I look more boy band than Clark Kent, so I'm not gonna wear that wig.
More Bully McGuire.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done the Clark Kent thing. I've pulled on like the Superman T-shirt underneath the suit and tie when I've done the lazy and just spent the night with the shirt open, and that
Yeah, you
that
gotta
worked.
like use your middle finger to push your glasses up.
Yep, yep. So I've done that one a couple times, but but I definitely enjoy getting the suit on and having those interactions. Like I did an event last week or the other weekend, just a community event, um, a kids Halloween party out at West 5 out here out by Kilworth,
Right.
and that was fun. Just the kids were loving it, the parents were loving it. So and,
Cool.
uh, and that so it's the things you get to do, but it's the reactions that are the most fun. So like I said earlier, even when they go to the children's hospital, the nurses, the parents, they get a kick out of it too. And more from somebody's coming in to do something nice for the kids, right? Not just for the kids, just right. Other people that have no association with anybody in the hospital. Like my first visit into the hospital, I had some contractor stop me and thank me for saying, "Hey, nice suit," and appreciated that I was coming in to do that. And he said, as a parent, if his kid was in the hospital, somebody came in to do something like that, he'd really appreciate it. So it's like that's the kind of stuff that makes me feel good about those choices. So
Oh, those are good choices to make.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think more people should do it. I think it's really fun, and there is something special about the S on the chest because he's such a generational character. And so
oh yeah,
you could be going in there and there could be a 95-year-old that sees you know what I mean, sees the crest and thinks the same thing as a 5-year-old would.
oh
And
yeah, yeah, and
yeah,
it's all about that reaction. So that's why I enjoy that so much. And when I see it, like even when I'm walking down the street, like from where I park the car to the hospital, or even walking to the cons, it's like the same idea. So
yeah, something happened to me when I put on the suit too. I think
yeah, oh yeah, you can't put on the suit and not feel a little different.
yeah,
Uh,
so what happened was I put on the suit and all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, wait, I have to be a good role model all of a sudden. Like I can't be like swearing and yelling with my friends at the cons. I got to be like
yeah,
I got to
yeah,
be I got
you
to
got
be
to be
stern and proper like
that.
Superman.
You got to be that guy. Yeah,
What's up, Click and Cliff?"
yeah, yeah. That's the thing. But that's the plus of the cosplay, depending on the character, but it's also the downside because you get those guys that play the masked characters and think now that they're a masked character they can get away with stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, right, like
The suit changes you.
yeah, yeah, like the example that's often given is the guys that dress up as Deadpool, because
Hmm.
Deadpool's a dick in the comics. They figure when they put on the Deadpool suit they can be a dick now. No, you're just a dick in real life. The suit's just giving you an excuse to be more of.
Yeah, I've seen good examples of that. I've seen good and bad Deadpools, like
Yeah,
guys that
yeah,
are really funny. They're not like you should not be touchy at the cons. If
yeah,
there's a do and don't, and it's don't be touchy, and if you are, please ask
yeah.
because
Well, that's the thing. They say that all the time. Cosplay is not consent, and yeah, like you, I've seen good and bad Deadpools. Like we had a Deadpool at the Geeks and Company booth doing the dance, you know, ad nauseum at London
that,
Comic Con, right?
that's
And
pretty funny.
and they're but with any character, there's good characters, there's good cosplayers, and there's bad cosplayers, and there's the guys that fall in between, and you gotta find your way with that character. Um, with Superman, playing Superman it's pretty straightforward, right?
Exactly.
The you can't be evil
I just tell
Superman. That's your
every
famous.
kid that walks up to me, I tell them to be the hope,
Yep.
or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. You've got to be supportive. You got to be encouraging. You've got to be respectful. You know, and like that's the thing. People always ask me why Superman. It's like, well, it's the dichotomy, right? When he's Clark, he's quiet, he's bumbling, he's that character. When he's Superman, he can do anything he wants, like literally anything he wants, and nobody could really stop him. And he always chooses to do the right thing, even if it may be the hardest thing, right? So it's that balance, but you're there as they often come back to. You're there as that inspiration of what we could all aspire to be.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
I recommend people out there, if you don't get Superman, or if you're not a fan of Superman, I'm not gonna say you don't understand him, but maybe delve into the comics a bit. If you're
yep.
if you're ever feeling depressed, there are really good stories that are
Oh
really
yeah,
uplifting, and this Superman is a character that can bring anyone out of the darkness because that's what
yeah,
he does on a daily basis.
yeah. And he's evolved. If you go back through the history of the character, people say that Superman's boring because he's so overpowered. Well, he wasn't originally overpowered. He
No,
was a
and it's been up and down since then too, in different
He was very much a
iterations.
product of his time. Yeah, like if you listen to the radio serials from the 30s and 40s, he was very rough and tumble, right? Like
Yeah.
I kind of laugh when I go back and I listen to the old radio serials, because he'll get into a fight with these gangsters, and they'll shoot him, and the bullets will pop off him, and he'll make some comment like, "Oh, that tickles. Now it's my turn." And the next thing you hear is him, bopping with these guys, uh, right? And then, but as he moved through the decades, his powers and his sensibilities evolved with the times, right? He became less rough and tumble, and he became, you know, more more thought provoking, more cognizant of what he has the capability to do, and tempered himself around that. They even touched on it when he fought Darkseid, when he fought Doomsday, how it felt so good for him to not have to hold back.
Yeah, the world's made of cardboard was
Yeah,
the famous line from the Justice League cartoon.
yeah, and because I've seen panels where he literally says it feels really good to not have to hold back, and then he just lets go. And one of my favorite comic panels of all time is out of it's DC Presents. It's an old Teamup title. I think it's issue number 27. He gets teamed up with Green Lantern. The cover shows Green Lantern making a giant ball of kryptonite to cripple Superman, but they've gotten trapped in an alternate dimension with a shape-shifting alien. And at one point, this alien takes over Green Lantern, gets the ring and everything, and Superman realizes it, takes his cape off, wraps his arm so that the yellow in the emblem is on the arm.
Oh yeah.
Because yellow defeats the Green Lanterns, right? And goes off to fight this alien. And they pull back, and all you see is this scene, like the floating islands, because it's an alternate dimension, and Green Lantern standing on this one island, and the whole back panel just says like something like "Skaboom," right? Like in big, huge letters. And the next panel after that, Superman's coming back holding the unconscious alien in his true form, and he casually flips the ring back to Green Lantern and makes a comment about how when he puts that much power into one of his punches, not much can withstand it. So he unloaded on this alien to get past this force of will stuff, and flatten the alien out. And it's just that whole Skaboom panel is one of my favorite Superman panels ever because of that.
That's cool. Overpowered the Green Lantern, basically, or
and
the Pretender.
Yeah, and like when they did the New 52, when DC did the New 52, they put Superman back into his brawling phase because he was wearing jeans and work boots and a Superman T-shirt and I think he had a short cape at some point, but they put him more back into his brawler mode, and they had that progression because he had the first story arc was him fighting that way, trying to figure out how he could even get onto Brainiac's ship, because at that point he couldn't fly, so he was trying to run fast enough to jump right back like he used to do, because he used to just jump tall buildings and jump great distances like the way the Hulk does, right? And that eventually morphed into flying and gave him that power to fly. And in that New 52 arc, he got onto Brainiac's ship because there was all this Kryptonian technology on there. It recognized him as Kryptonian and gave him that battle armor suit. That's why the New 52 suit has those lines that make it look more like armor.
Oh, okay.
It got on him, and it was just a little patch like the logo. And then when he got into trouble, it morphed into this full-blown, more armored looking suit, right? And then they moved him into the regular costume and all that sort of stuff. So it was like, so they revamped him to give him a fresh origin start, New 52, right? So
yeah, well, that's cool. I haven't actually read the New 52 yet. That's kind of
well, they've
something I haven't gotten into much.
They did another crisis series like Infinite Crisis.
I read some of the Rebirth New 52 stuff, but I only have a handful of them. I don't know a lot about it.
Yeah, and I like the New 52 suit. That was the first real costume I was going to try and do, but I couldn't get the cape to sit right.
Yeah, so. It's got like metal things holding the cape up, right, or something like that.
Yep. Yeah, like it goes into the shoulder more, dips into the shoulder more and things. So,
but, yeah, that would look good.
Yeah, if I can get it figured out, then I would. So,
right on.
Yeah.
Well, we're at about an hour and 40 here, so I think that's a good time to cut it off.
Yeah, I think so.
We got through everything I wanted to talk about and more, so that's great.
Yeah, we had a good conversation. I appreciate it. So
yeah, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. This was actually quite a blast. I love talking about Superman. I know I'm a Star Wars channel, but Superman is always number one in my heart since the beginning. I was just a little kid watching those Chris Reeves movies on DVD or on VHS. That was kind of my first intro to any superhero or anything fantastical that I can remember.
Yep. Oh yeah. I had a lot of other superheroes before Superman, but the Chris Reeves movies are the big thing. The new movie talking about Chris Reeves' personal history, the Superman, the Chris Reeves story. That's a movie that people should check out. The documentary.
I need to see that because did it come out in Canada?
Yeah.
It released in Canada too.
Yeah, well, it was in limited showings on the 21st and 25th of September. The 25th of September being his birthday, and then they went wide release with it like a couple weeks later. It just opened this weekend in Europe, and but it's really powerful. It's insightful. It's inspirational. It's tear jerking. It talks a lot about. It doesn't shy away from his accident. And that, but it shares a lot of
So it goes a lot about like him and his wife's charity and stuff like that too.
Yeah, yeah. It's really more about what he did after the accident.
Yeah, that's what I've been interested in. That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Does it touch on Smallville at all?
They alluded to him getting back to work after the accident. They didn't say anything about Smallville specifically.
Yeah,
but
I didn't know if they were gonna have a little part about that or not, because he had a cool role in that show, anyways.
Yeah, yeah. I think they touched on it really briefly, if I remember right. But it was just a quick passing thing, simply because of the fact that they had a commercial or a public service announcement at the end of one of the episodes for the foundation.
Nice.
For the Christopher Reeve Foundation, and that's one of my favorite scenes at the end of that episode, because both him and Tom Welling are just cracking each other up during that announcement, right? Because there's a basically what we call today an end credit scene on that episode of Smallville where he shows up as and at the end they do a public service announcement about spinal injuries and the Christopher Reeve Foundation. And they I think Tom says something like, please donate. And Chris Reeves goes, please, like really, just kind of in a funny voice. And Tom and the crew just lose it. They just start laughing hysterically. And and they left it in because it was too good to not, right?
What a good moment.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to watch. So but the documentary is really powerful. I kind of had the feeling when I saw it on the 25th, I had a feeling a lot of people were there thinking it was going to be more about the making of Superman, the Superman movies and things like that. And they weren't expecting what they got.
Yeah.
But by the end of it, they were like, everybody was like, whoa. Like I was blown away by it. My girlfriend was blown away by it. It was just amazing. So
cool. Yeah, I need to see it because it's something that I'm really curious about, and he's definitely my number one Superman. Like I would say maybe Tom Welling number 2, but Chris Reeve is by far and above. Like when I think of Superman, that's who I picture for sure.
Yeah. If it's still in theaters, go see it. If not, as soon as it's available on whatever streaming platform, check it out. And you'll be blown away by it. For me, the biggest thing I want to know, I knew a lot of the other stuff, so getting a lot of details flushed out and learning more about the kids and his history and the evolution of the foundation and things like that, those were all really important things and very, very powerful. The part for me that I was most curious about was his friendship with Robin Williams.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, they went to school together. They both went to Juilliard together and they were roommates. They were friends, like close, like almost like it's even described in the movie as like close, like brothers.
He was friends with a lot of people. Wow.
Yeah. And Robin was, and I heard this story for years, and that's why I wanted to see if they touched on that relationship more, was that Robin was one of the first people to come and see Chris after the accident. And he came into the hospital room dressed as a doctor, pretending to be a Russian proctologist here to give him a rectal exam, right? With the thick Russian accent and the whole 9 yards. And Chris and other family members had said that was the first time that he had laughed since the accident.
Wow.
When Robin came in and did that. And they would host, Robin and his wife, Marcia, would host a party every year on the anniversary of the accident as a celebration of the fact that he was still here, right? And they they gave him a fully equipped van to get around with easier.
Mm-hmm.
After Chris passed, the family donated that van to somebody else who hadn't been able to leave the house because of their injury. They had no way to do anything, so they donated the van to them. So they they paid it forward, as it were, right? So the whole movie is just
wow.
Like, we make the joke, take tissues, but it's not a joke. It's you're gonna cry if at parts of the movie, if not through 90% of it, because it's that powerful, it's that provoking, it's that inspirational. It's if you don't cry during the movie, you're dead. If you don't cry at least once during the movie, you're dead.
I believe it. Yeah.
It's,
sounds like a really powerful film. Or is it?
oh, it is.
Is it like a documentary or like a
Yeah,
mostly?
it's a
style?
documentary. It's a lot of it's not found footage. It's archival footage, family footage that they converted from VHS tapes and 8mm tapes and things like that. Like even Will Reeves, his youngest son,
Right.
has commented that because of how young he was when his dad actually passed away, a lot of the stuff that came out while they were doing this film, he didn't know about. He hadn't seen some of this footage. So for him, it was a rediscovery. It was very much an emotional journey for him during this whole process too. His sister and his brother, the older sister and older brother, went through so much of this. They were already in their teens and early 20s when he passed, right?
I think Will is rumored to show up in as a James Gunn cameo in the future.
He's filmed a cameo for the film.
Legacy.
I think he's playing a reporter.
Wow.
So he's playing a reporter in there the same way Jay Towers was a reporter in the Batman versus Superman.
Right.
Because that's the reporter that does the story on when that guy spray paints the statue.
Yep.
Right. That reporter, that's Jay.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like on the Superman statue.
Yeah. The Wayne exec or the Wayne employee that was returning all the checks and that Luthor blew up. When he climbs up on the statue and spray paints false god on it, the reporter reporting on that incident is Jay Towers. He's a reporter out of Detroit, but he's also the co-host of the Caped Wonder Superman podcast.
Oh, cool.
So he's got a tie to like Chris Reeves and all those guys, and he was one of the co-hosts at the Legacy reunion, but he does this podcast, the Caped Wonder Superman podcast, where they're working to keep the Reeve legacy alive. So and he's friends with Dana's passed on, Will and the kids and all that, and the foundation and things. So Will Reeve the rumor is he's playing a similar role like that, like he's reporting on something. So it's just a quick cameo.
That's cool.
Yeah,
man, he looks so much like his dad too. So it might be weird being like, hey, is that Clark Kent or is that Superman? What's going on here?
yeah. Well, that's the thing. We'll see how that plays out. Like, but the rumor is that he's got a cameo as a reporter. So, which isn't much of a stretch.
Yeah, no, I could see that. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
I know that he probably was in the running to be Superman at one point, but like maybe he's not a good enough actor. Maybe he doesn't want to do it. There's many reasons people don't take on roles. So
yeah, well, there was a lot of fan casting when they started talking about doing a new Superman project to put him in there.
Yeah,
but, yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, I think a lot of DC fans, maybe not a certain sector of DC fans, are super excited for the James Gunn Legacy movie. I think it's gonna be a nice fresh reboot. Like that's what we need right now, is something a little more, a little happier.
Every generation has their Superman. We've got Chris Reeve, we've got Brandon Routh, we've got Henry Cavill. Now we've got David Cornsweet. So
it's perfect.
Yeah,
I think they've always casted really well for Superman. Like there's never been a bad Superman.
No. All the actors were great. The relative unknowns that went on to bigger things after that role, and so we'll see what happens with Cornsweet in the James Gunn movie. Right now, I'm excited for it and looking forward to it, but I'm always going to be excited for it.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Right on. Well,
yeah,
that is the end of the stream, folks. Thank you for showing up, and thank you, Keith L. London Superman. You can find him on Instagram. He may have a future YouTube channel, or he's already got a YouTube channel. I'll put it in the link below. I think he's.
Yeah, I got to get you that link. So.
He's gonna start doing more posts there too if you want to check him out. And he's got a lot of updates and talking about all the different charities he works with on his Instagram page. If you want to just keep up with him, that's the place to go.
Yeah, I do more on Instagram than I do on Facebook, and I'm not on TikTok or anything like that. So
yeah, I'm strictly YouTube and Instagram really, so it's like I'm not much different
yeah.
in that regard.
Yeah, and I'm trying, like I said, I'm trying to do more on YouTube, trying to get more stuff. So this is helpful, gives me more insight into it, more access to more tools. So I appreciate the invite and what you've already shared with me. So now you're one of my resources as I start to try and move out into the world.
And feel free to use the resource because I have quite a bit of knowledge after a few years, even just a few years of YouTubing. I feel like I have gathered up quite a bit of knowledge.
Yeah, well,
and I'm just gonna.
I'm glad we met. So
right on. Yeah, well, it was great meeting you. It's great talking to you. I'm just gonna play the outro, and then goodbye, everyone, and may the force be with you.
To take a hint, this guy.